In a time where we seem to always be playing games on our phones, computers, VR, which I love, and I know it's all in good fun, there's another game going on. A game where the stakes are way too high to ignore. Because this game has the power to dictate your everyday lives and the lives of generations to come. And yes, I'm talking about American politics. Because I'm sick of hearing people say it's too confusing or it has nothing to do with me and my vote doesn't count. Because you're wrong on both fronts, and I'm gonna prove it in this video. Welcome to the most powerful game in the land, the American democracy. A political arena that has the power to be corrupt just as much as it has the power to heal itself and be just. And for those of you who think it's not a game, well, I suggest you watch as I explain how this government really works. Because it surely is set up like a game. There are teams and alliances. You can score points and have devastating public losses. You can get dropped from a team or switch teams altogether. And it all happens here, the Capitol building, which might look more familiar like this. But when it's not being overrun by homegrown terrorists who get off with a slap on the wrist, it's usually used for governing purposes. So, yeah. Anyway, let's start from the beginning. Democracy. What is it and how does it work? Democracy is the form of government we live under here in America, where we choose our leaders by voting. And in this game, voting is our power source as citizens. It's one of the main ways we can score points in this political game. So if you don't vote, you have no power. Simple. See? And we have frequent elections, so no one is in power for too long. Also, in a democracy, we're supposed to be treated equally, no matter our race, religion, or gender. But America has yet to live up to that. Facts. But all hope is not lost, because if we unite for the pursuit of equality, we can change the world like my ancestors did. Within this democracy, there are three branches of government: the executive, legislative, and judicial. Today, we're going to focus on the legislative branch, aka Congress. This is where the game is played at a very high level. This is chess, not checkers, so pay attention. Congress is made up of two chambers, the House and the Senate. Congress is responsible for writing and passing laws, declaring war, and regulating interstate and foreign commerce, which basically means that when you move products from state to state or overseas, the government is going to get their piece. Money. Congress also controls taxing and spending policies. More money. The House of Representatives has 435 elected officials. But where did they get that number from if we only have 50 states? That's because the old dudes who wrote the Constitution, I just refuse to call them the founding fathers, because first, you can't be the founder of land that belonged to somebody else, and second, they ain't nobody's father over here. Anyway, the old dudes set it up so that the number of representatives is based on each state's population size. And it states this in Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution. In order to be elected to the House of Representatives, a representative must be at least 25 years old, a U.S. citizen for at least 7 years, and must live in the state you represent. The House is led by the Speaker of the House, who is elected by the House of Representatives. The House has a few things that it can do that the Senate can't do. Like, only the House can initiate tax laws and spending bills. Only the House can start the impeachment of a president or other government officials. And if during a presidential election, there's no majority in the Electoral College, which we'll get into later, it's the House that casts the deciding vote. The Senate is set up differently. The Senate is made up of 100 elected members. 2 senators represent each state, and senators have staggered 6-year terms. So to me, if you elect the wrong House of Representatives, it's messed up because they can still do damage in 2 years. But not as much damage as the wrong senator can, because they will have over half a decade to cause harm. So make sure you do your research before you vote. And all it takes is a simple Google search, so you really have no excuse. To run for Senate, you must be at least 30 years old, live here for 9 years, and live in the state that you will represent. In the Senate, the Vice President serves as the head of the Senate, but the VP can only cast a vote in the event of a tie, which can also be a very powerful move strategically. So all elections matter. The Senate has some things that it can do that the House can't do as well. Only the Senate can approve presidential appointments and treaties. An example of this would be all the federal judges in the judicial branch and the president's cabinet members, like the Secretary of State or Defense or Education and so on. And when the House wants to impeach a government official like the president, it's the Senate who tries them. Like way back in the day during Watergate, Nixon was impeached by the House, and the trial for his impeachment was done by the Senate because he was caught spying on the Democratic Party during the presidential election. So, anyway, within both the Senate and the House, there are 2 different parties, but for our purposes, we'll just call them teams. The Democrats, we'll call them the blue team, and Republicans, we'll call them the red team. Both teams are supposed to represent the interests of their constituents. That's us, the people that voted for them. Both sides are also supposed to work together to write laws and oversee other government agencies and pass bills. But they rarely work together these days. And that's a problem that only you and I can fix by voting. And if you've noticed me saying how important it is for us to vote several times throughout this video, that's to show the importance of how important it is to vote. I also want to take time to mention that you don't have to be a Democrat or Republican. You can also be an independent voter. The independents haven't chosen a side. Independents vote on issues rather than on the basis of political ideology. Now, since writing and passing bills is the main thing Congress does, let me explain how bills are passed. A bill can start in the House or the Senate, but before the bill gets voted on, it goes through a series of committees where they discuss and research the items in the bill. And I have to stop here because this committee thing is one of those things that should be talked about more, because the power moves that you can make, depending on which committee you're on, are boundless. For example, people on the Appropriations Committee, they decide how the national budget is reallocated. So if we want schools to be funded equally, like I do, the committee will decide that. So everybody on the committee is a power player. So we really need to take time to make sure we know who's on what committee and what they're doing. So the next time you hear on the news, oh, the bill was killed in committee, find out who was on that committee and get them out of office. That's how it works, people. There's only one way to do it. You have to be involved in the process. There I go again. How do you get involved in the process? Oh, you gotta vote. That's how. It just keeps sneaking up on us, y'all. There it is again, voting. So the next time you complain about what you didn't get from the government, think about who you voted for last time, or who you didn't vote for because you didn't vote. All right, let's stay focused. They can also make changes to the bill or amendments. And after that, they have floor debates on the merits of the bill. So let's say a bill starts in the House and is finally voted on after all of that. Then the bill gets sent to the Senate, where the process starts all over again. And if the Senate makes any changes at all, the bill has to go back to the House for another vote. Then both the House and the Senate must approve the same exact bill before the bill can move forward. If it passes and goes to the president's desk for approval, the president can sign the bill into law. If the president chooses to veto or void the bill, the only way Congress can override the vote is if they get a 2/3 majority vote in both houses, which means in the House that has 435 members, you'd need 290 votes to get a 2/3 vote. And in the Senate, who has 100 members, you'd need 67 votes to get a 2/3 majority. And failing to pass legislation happens way more than it should. A prime example of this failure would be the recent attempt at the Voters' Rights Bill that couldn't get passed through the Senate due to a filibuster, which we'll talk about later. And it happened because this clown, Joe Manchin, the senator from West Virginia, decided to go against his party and his constituents' wishes.
Joe Manchin does not represent a very large population of Black voters whose right to vote is constantly under attack.
Which clearly shows that corrupt politicians can come from either team. And while we're on the subject of elected officials, let's take a look at some of the big names in politics these days, because it's important to know who you currently have speaking for you. And these are not my opinions. These are statements that these senators and House reps made themselves. Form your own opinions and conclusions, and realize that all these people were voted in and can still be voted out. Remember that.
The fact that he's willing to make a promise at the outset that it must be a Black woman, I gotta say that's offensive.
Right.
You know, Black women are what, 6% of the U.S. population? He's saying to 94% of Americans, I don't give a damn about you.
We've had 115 Supreme Court justices in the history of the United States. 108 have been white men. I really think there's room for us to consider not only women, but women of color to fill these vacancies.
What's your message for voters of color who are concerned that without the John L. Lewis Voting Rights Act, they're not going to be able to vote in the midterm?
Well, the concern is misplaced because if you look at the statistics, African-American voters are voting in just as high a percentage as Americans.
You want to know what's going on in Georgia right now? They have a historical pattern of dwindling polling places in the diverse areas, with some voters in Georgia waiting up to 10 hours in predominantly Black neighborhoods. Think about this for a second. You want to talk about voter suppression? You're working a job, you're taking care of young kids, and you're going to give up a day's salary in Georgia to vote? You want to talk about a modern-day poll tax? And my friends on the other side are saying that race is not an issue here?
Kaepernick writes, there is nothing new about American terrorist attacks against Black and brown people for the expansion of American imperialism. Your response?
Yeah, he's a loser on and off the field.
The country needs a strong Republican Party. They've made great contributions to our country. I say this to Republicans all the time. Take back your party from this cult.
We were told that we were anti our caucus, we were anti-democracy, we were anti-this and that, when actually what we were and what we still are is pro the people, because the people have to be first. The people have to win.
We're going to continue to denounce the outrageous behavior when it occurs, but we need partners on the other side of the aisle, and we need people to start saying, you know what, there are certain things where this is not a Democratic issue or Republican issue. It's an American issue, and let's put America, let's put country ahead of party.
Congress is the only branch of government we get to fully vote into office. So it's on us to vote and redesign a Congress that will work for the people, not against the people. We have to get a Congress that works together. And that's how the legislative branch works. See? It's not so hard to understand, and it's not hard to get involved. What I hope is getting across is that we have no excuse for the world we live in if we refuse to be a part of the process of change. These are scary times. These are important times where our unity matters. We can't get things done by ourselves. It's gotta be together. But we all have to know the rules of the game to win the game. In our next video, I will be breaking down the executive branch so that you can fully understand what goes on in the White House. Until then, be revolutionary. This video was brought to you by the Black Revolutionary Collective. Power to the people.
Give the power to the people, yeah, yeah. Give the power to the people. Give the power to the people, yeah, yeah.
If you would like to donate or become a member of the Black Revolutionary Collective, please visit our website at www.blackrevolutionarycollective.com.